Okay, we're up to Tov Beis. Tov Aleph. Someone was traveling and he fell asleep before Shabbos and woke up. Suddenly it's dark. He's not in Techumin. He's not anywhere. Kana shvisa in Koinoi. He gets shvisa. Yesh lo alpayim ama l'chol ruach. Too bad. Now he gets alpayim ama, which he says around a kilometer to every direction. V'dafka ba'adam mishum dehoyel v'im hayaneyor hayakona. This is only talking about an adam, a person. Because if he was awake, he would hayakona. He would have been kona shvisa yoshelami kona. Even though he's not awake, we say that, like we said before, if he's kovei shvisa, he gets 2,000 amos. The point over here is that you have to be, to make it 2,000 amos, you have to be kona shvisa. So we say, even though he wasn't specifically kona shvisa, it works anyway. Cheftzei hefker, ain't no kona shvisa, but a chafetze, let's say your person's, let's say a person, is kona shvisa in the middle of the forest. I don't know, whatever. And then he finds some cheftzei hefker, someone's whatever. They are considered like the person picks them up. They're considered like as his, and he can carry it as far as he can go. They don't have the kelim themselves. Don't have 2,000 amos. They go by whoever's zeich in them. But any Yehudi, but chafatzim of a goy calling shvisa in kaiman. They do have shvisa where they are. Avabi shabaleim labnei shvisa dinu. But the Chum said that they have a din that you can only take him a payim ama from wherever let's say you have to borrow something in the forest, you borrow something from a plate from a whatever it is, only 2,000 amas. Gzeira chatzei any Yehudi atu chatzei Yisrael, because then you might come to make a mistake. See on any Yehudi chutz tchuma mevi'in la'ir. Let's say a goy took his kelim from outside the tchum and brought them to the city. You're allowed to go ahead. So let's say a guy deliver a Amazon package, whatever, from outside the tchum. Usually it's not from outside the tchum, but let's say that was the case. So someone brought it from outside the tchum, and they gave it to you. So then you'd be allowed to go ahead and carry it around the whole city. Because like our brows, generally if something's brought from outside the tchum, you can only move it dalat amos. But if it's a package for you, that's Chavtzei Yisrael, that's a different thing. But, if let's say it was a goy, if a goy, if it's his own kelim, whatever. If it's Yisrael and he ordered it, there would be only Arba Amos. Avach Tehei Mukefes Ladira, as long as the city is Mukefes Ladira, the walls were Mukefes Ladira, then it has a din of Dal Amos. Ustame Yaros, Mukafos Sadira, Stam city if there's a wall around it, it's considered Mukafos Sadira. Shabonim Batim Tchila, generally build the houses first. Then they put a wall around them. Stam B'tzarim, a fort, first they put the fort up, and then the people start living outside the walls, whatever, or some sort of castle. Eina Mukafim Ladira, they're not called Mukafim Ladira because they're originally originally was a fort, and then slowly people started settling there, so that's not called that. If he lent scissors to a goy, he wants to bring him back on Shabbos, or a fork, I don't know. He can't carry it outside Arba Amos, im ein ha'ir mukaf mechitza. Sherekelim konu shvisa, etel ein Yehudi, and then it's kind of 2,000 Amos. Shabur brings an important lakuda, when we said, the Shulchan Aruch says, Tama Yaros, Nechaf Sadira, what about, the Chayim discussed, what about cities already present, cities without a wall, which is most cities nowadays. What's the din of them? So he says, if they put up a proper eruv, we discussed this once, if you put up a proper eruv, then it's considered mukefes adira, because the batim are like mechitza, if it comes to prutzim, hello, nitkul b'turas Pesach and Asi Ladira. Since there are mechitzas of turas Pesach and everything like that, so that makes the city into mukefes Ladira. Because he said, hello, bodim batim, tchilas turas Pesach. So that's called mukefes Ladira. We had different shiloh before about can you go, is that called the mechitzas of the year? That's a different nekuda. The Dirshu brings the Mishal Zalin, it was more discussion in Yerushalayim, is if it's something within the area of the city, I think it was more of a discussion for Hadassah and Kerem, which is really technically outside the Tchum, so the fact that there's a city Erev enclosing all the way around, with Hadassah, whatever would that be, is that considered, as part of the city that you can carry, that, Tchum, and he says that, It was. I mean, I don't know. I've been talking 20 years ago, whatever. Right now I don't know how built up. How built up it is. It could be the time of the Tshuva. Could be the Tzias was different. The houses, whatever. So he said that's called Mukaf Ladira. If the Chazon Ish doesn't like this idea of Turas Pesach, he wants a Chum, fine. That's that's a machlokes between Shulchan Aruch and the Chazon Ish about whether you can call that one city. Also was I don't know if also was originally was many years when the first 40 years ago it was also there was nothing the Shiloh Tchum over there also, but eventually things filled up. Tough base. Din charitz mayim. Charitz malei mayim mechunasim. Shu bein shnei tchumim. Let's say you have a reservoir between two tchumei Shabbos. Miktaso b'tchum yirzeh, miktaso b'tchum yiracheres. Part of it, or it's a small lake, whatever it is, and it's partially in this tchum, partially in that tchum. Shtei ayaros asuros umalus v'menu. Afilu b'socha tchum. Two of the cities can't go ahead and draw water from it, even if it's Tchum. Shemayim shebesocha tchum kodin shvisas hayir. The mayim, which is next to the city, gets the shvis of the city, gets the din of the city. It's arvim elu imelu, and then you have the waters are get mixed up. So if you're taking water, that's you're taking water from the other side. V'tzarech lasos mechitza, the din d'Rabbanan, the Rabbanan were goyzer. Tzarech lasos mechitza b'sofa Techumin, that you have to put a border up, some sort of fence, or have sikam. V'afil tluya she'enim agas karka charetz shokanim ba'alma sagi. It's sort of you say gurachis. Obviously you're not actually going to be separating one water from the other, but it's chelik of the Techumin that you shouldn't go ahead and come to take from the other side or from whatever. Say, okay, make it a very clear demarcation about where the tchum is, and you can take. Like, oh, bor shall.
So the pastor is not on the shul. Why is it not?
Right. So that's why. No, so that's why you're allowed to. That's around the Mishavura says that mayim l'chutz l'tchum even she'enon smuchim la'ir they have a din of chatzei hefker. That if it's not, this is only where it's tocha tchum. If it's water which is outside the tchum,
that's up there.
This is where we're talking about the case where it hits
inside the tchum, it's considered mayim shutaf, and if it's outside the tchum, then it's up.
Right. So if we're talking about a case, the Orach Chaim says we're talking about the case of a very large lake or something like that. It doesn't make sense. He says, well, one side you got this part of the tchum over here, and you have a few kilometer miles, the Mississippi River, I don't know, whatever. You're not talking about the river anyway is different, but let's say it's a very large lake, Lake Michigan. Okay, so if Chicago goes in a little bit into Lake Michigan, so on the other side, oh wait, you can't take. He's not talking about that case. He's talking about the case that's very small. It's a very small reservoir or lake or whatever it is, where it really is just in between these two cities, and it's really very mitzumtzum, and the tchum ends mamish in the middle.
In the Haris, is the water stagnant or is the water flowing?
No, stagnant. Mechunasim. Yeah, that's it. It's mechunasim. The Shulchan Aruch says mechunasim. That it's stagnant.
Does it have to be at the end of the 2000 at the tchum? Can you make it like a little fence in your backyard?
Yeah, no, Chutz is different. Here we're talking about a case at the end of the Tchum, it's two cities. So the Tchum.
It says you have to make the fence from the people
The fence has to be in the water, above the water.
Does it have to be mamish at the end of the tchum, or is it-
Oh, I know. I think Chara has to be between them. Chara has to be between the two cities, the Tchum of the two cities. I'll go.
Has to be measured.
Yeah. I'll go over shel tevin hamaretz bein shnei tchumin. Let's say you have a pit full of tevin that's between the two tchumin. Elu ma'achilim mikan, elu ma'achilim mikan. Echoshin shema yikach echad mechel chavero. We're not choshish you're going to take from the part outside the tchum because it's solid, it's not liquid, so therefore it's not a problem. As your question, if the river, if there's flowing water, you don't need any tikkun at all, a river or some sort, because since the 90s, since they're flowing, so they're never kona shvisa, so therefore you can always fill from it no matter what. Tav Gimel. Shabbos bebika b'kifur enim Yehudim b'Shabbos b'chitzas l'dira. Person went, he's staying for Shabbos in the middle of the wilderness, and for some reason, overnight the Goyim erected walls around that bika for whatever reason. L'dira, decided they want to, a caravan came, whatever, they want to sleep there overnight. You can only go. Still can only go within this hukuf l'dira apayim ama she'ena kula ka'arba amos. He doesn't get the kula ka'arba amos. Given shaloshavas ma'avir mechitzos. Since by ben hashmashos he wasn't toch the mechitzos, so therefore his shvisa was 2,000 amos. V'tauto v'kula ayadei zvika. However, since he is l'maisa within a rishus hayachid, even if it was it's rishus hayachid now. Then he can go ahead and he can still metalto by throwing it, because you're not over on tiltul. It's just it's a Techumin derabanan. He's not allowed to go ahead and to walk out. Sheyachol lizvok afil chutz l'alpayim. He can even throw it chutz l'alpayim if it's within the mechitzos. Sheyachol gamerhu kivan shehukuf l'dira. Right, he can go to his end of his 2,000 amos, and there's someone standing there. You throw him something, whatever, and it's fine. Ava tauto mamish chutz arba amos, but to actually carry outside the arba amos also feel toch alpayim, because that's we say that since he can only throw it outside his 2,000 amos of zvika, then it's considered ki'ilu it's nifrat. So if you have the case of by Eruvin, if it's nifrat so makom ha'asrula. If it's a area which is open to carvelous, things like that, where you can't carry, so anyway he's also to carry. So his walls are 2,000 amos there, and it's nifrat, so he can't carry.
But you can throw?
Throwing because he's not high, he can't, because he can't.
It's Rishus HaYachid Shenefetz.
It's like it's Rishus right. Rishus HaYachid Shenifra, but here's Rishus.
Is that true in Rishus HaYachid Shenefetz that you can't carry, but you can throw?
You can throw out of the I don't remember. Whether you can go ahead and throw it outside the. It could be these things are where the Techumin and Eruvin overlap is a little bit. It seems like it's a little bit hazy over here. I'm not. Yeah, talking about Hotzah, talking about Exer D'Rabbanan of Hotzah, copy Exer D'Rabbanan of walking, Tchum. Meshubur Taka brings his Rav Poskim Cholkim al Zeh, and you are allowed to carry, because the little mikri parts of Makom HaAsur, it's a little bit of a chiddush, to say that. The Makom HaMutar, it's mutar, it's not Makom HaAsur, even though copy Techumin, it's Makom HaAsur, but again, don't mix. It seems to be don't mix Techumin and tiltul. That's what seems to be with the
You're mixing Techumin in order to make it asa.
Right. Well,
you should be mutar is easy to do. It's to say that you're not allowed to carry.
It says. The Mishabura says, since he can't walk there, but he can throw. There's no isser tiltul b'chlal. That's the Shulchan the Mishabura brings. Well, there's no Isser Tiltul. It's in Rishus HaYachid. You're fine. It's just, you can't walk there, so throw it. It's not, the first sheet of the Ramah is sort of like mixing and saying, well, no, the 2,000 amos is kilo, it's a wall, And it's all, which we say by Sukkah, we say that the trail of Mechitzas of Shabbos, but to say to call the 2,000 Amos as like a Mechitza is a bit of a Chiddush, but that seems to be where the Machlokes falls. A tough Daled. But this is the din of the Tefachim. Hamahalech chutz l'tchum, someone who's going outside the tchum, l'mala me'asar tefachim. Goyim shekafetz al gabi amudim shekvoim asara. He's whatever, playing jumping game, I don't know, whatever it is. He's jumping from one amud to the other. Ein b'chol echad mehem abar tefachim, because then it would be like a different rishus. So then he's jumping from pole to pole above asar tefachim. So then, there is a suffix in yesh Techumin l'mayla me'asara olav. There's a general suffix in the Gemara. We'll see different applications, whether it's yesh Techumin l'mayla me'asara or not. And generally I think we're machmer, chiva al sus. The place we're machmer, if you're riding a horse, we don't call that above 10 tefachim because the horse is riding on the ground. The point over here is you're jumping from place to place. Now, huadin, okay, we'll talk about airplanes in a minute. Let's say for instance, your plane landed on Shabbos. What do? We'll see that in the end of the sif. But flying, you're flying through the air, things like that is considered above a sort of tefachim. So it says that there's a suffix in yesh Techumin l'mayla me'asar olav u'mashiyeh b'derabanan yasveiko l'halkel. However, if there's any din the Rabbana v'svekel lahakel qualifies a go miu and horich b'derech zeh. If he's walking on this derech for whatever reason, this is the way you walk. They kfitzas shame. They're using shemos to go ahead and go from one place to the other. Toch yu beis mil chutz yu beis mil. If they go from, so we said that the Rabbanan v'svekel lahakel. It's not, because you base meal is a shayla deraisa. But, apayim ama is only a derabanan, so therefore, you wouldn't say Techumin, above a Sarah, you can go as far as you want. However, if it's a past you base meal, so then, Azuyin l'chumah, you wouldn't be allowed to do that. L'man da Amar, Techumin you base meal, havi deraisa. This is in the Chuvas Rambam. Now, a couple of nakudas over here. First of all, just deal with the Orach Chaim talks about things of Kiveger, who says that Makom Derabanan says who are doing any Carmelis any place nowadays. The Chorah has a din Carmelis, and there's no, so therefore you wouldn't hold, according to this, you wouldn't hold Techumin Deraisa. That's a Magid Mishnah. If you know Techumin Deraisa, the Orach Chaim says doesn't. He says okay, if it's Magid Mishnah says it, but it's a pella because even there's a shita, Bekiva holds that even Apayim Amas Deraisa. So when you say, according to this shita, Deraisa, he says that shita is a bit tamua to say that every Carmelis you're allowed to go above asar tefachim, wherever you want.
I don't know where Carmelis plays in here. Could you explain how Carmelis plays in here? I'm not understanding.
Yeah, so Carmelis is that the lashon of the Shulchan Aruch is the mashiyeh b'derabanan is fekel lahakel. So therefore, it's above asar tefachim if it's the Rabbanan. So meaning as 2,000 amos. But if it's Yubei's meal, a person goes ahead and he's flying, and he's flying in the air. Yubei's outside Yubei's meal. Yubei's meal is a travel deraisa. So what's it mean the Rabbanan? So the Magid Mishnah says, Kveger brings the Magid Mishnah who says that the Rabbanan is also a Carmelis. That any makom that
the Rishus called the Carmelis is a din d'Rabbanan?
Well, yeah, so yeah.
What does that do with Techumin? If you're walking within a Carmelis, I don't understand what we're bringing Carmelis for. If you're walking 2,000, 12,000 amos inside of Carmelis, where does that play?
No, that he said because the Magid Mishnah, that's a Biurlach's comment. What's in the Magid Mishnah? He says that, one second, he says let me think about that. No, I know that. Right, no, because it's a din d'Rabbanan. He said because it's a din d'Rabbanan, so therefore, but what you're asking is, so what? We're not talking about tiltul, we're talking about, again, we're talking about Techumin. I need to think about it. It's a little bit unclear. I mean, Yerlacha has a bunch of kashas on it. The other, it's a couple of interesting nakudas here, about Kvitzas Shem. The Torah it actually says, Ayadei Shem, or Kvitzas Haderech. They asked when Kvitzas Haderech, like Yaakov Avinu, Kvitzas Haderech. He didn't do anything. I saw, but Al Kopanim, it seems like the Ramah is Miyashiv Dak. He says Kvitzas Shem. The Kvitzas Haderech of the Torah means you're using the Shemos to go ahead and make Kvitzas Haderech. I saw an interesting shot of Yerucham. I love it on the Parashas. He sort of brings up the issue. He says how did Kvitzas Haderech work? Were they flying through the air? Well, what's going on? Something like, you see that they were walking like this and they were like zipping by, like how exactly did he was flying? Like superpowers, like what's going on? So he says no, he said, you have to understand the way Ruchnius works is that, a person suddenly here and somehow or other, we don't really understand, suddenly he was in Choron, like he just walked, however it happened. It's not something we can be massing it. Here it's mashma that,
it comes down to the Charlotte, is it that you're not allowed to walk, or you're not allowed to take 2,000 paces, or you're not allowed to end up in more than 2,000 amos from when you started.
Right. That's what if you transport from one end to the other. So that's it. But still, what's Techumin l'mayla meyud? You're not going. What's Techumin? You're not. If you're not physically flying, what's shot over here? So I just Agav is interesting. I thought maybe because if you it says in the Gemara Sukkah, it says that Kodesh Baruch Hu shayla by Harsina, did he go below 10 Tefachim? What does that mean, b'chol? So Elamai, if a person uses that, you see that a person uses some sort of if a person goes in, uses ruchnius of some sort, or some sort of form of travel which is not physically on the ground, whether it's by flying or whether it's by using a shem, even if he's not physically flying, but the Kil Kosh Baruch, above 10 Tefachim. It's the same idea. A person uses a shem, he's going above 10 Tefachim, meaning there's no Techumin, and the question is more, is there Techumin if you're not walking on the ground, above 10 Tefachim is a thing. If you're not in a makom of rishuyos, it's not a normal way of walking. Let's just finish this. And since there's no Techumin on water, deraisa, the divrei hakol, because it's not done to Galim Midbar. Misha by the Sfina b'Shabbos lagil l'namal. He comes on a boat and lands by the port or the harbor. It's a deep harbor, and he's always a mile from the bottom of the sea. Then he can just get off. If he doesn't know, he can go lakula. He knows there was a paim ama. So ein l'rak arba amos. Mikol makam in tzarech lotis min asfina mikol sham shiyordim alav. It's rainy. Kalam zarechas alav. Tzarech l'kavav. He has to use the bathroom. Tzarech l'kol zeh l'kanas l'ir. And therefore he has to go to the city. Havali kol ir karba amos. We're makel. The whole city can be arba amos. Even the al since he's an oynis. Or let's say the case in the Darkei Moshe is that people they stood in order to get off. They stood by the front of the gangplank, and the Goyim on the boat. Like, what are you doing? And sort of pushed them off. Or so then it's al. So to an airplane, just finish with this. So to an airplane, since the Lamaisa is a person landed, I do know it has happened before people landed on Shabbos. I know a specific case. Are you allowed to get off the plane and go into the airport? And if you go into the airport, let's say it's JFK or something, or LAX, it's Tochot Tchum, are you allowed to go ahead and walk out of the airport and go home or wherever you're going? So the thing is that the airplane is above a sar Tefachim.
Why don't we consider it like the horse that you mentioned?
Right. So that's the thing. Once it goes and lands, so then it's like the case of the boat, toch a sar Tefachim. But since you can't stay on
the fuselage of the airplane is mountains.
Yeah, but it's on wheels.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the L'chora at that point, but since the police will come and throw you off the plane if you don't leave the plane, you should wait till everyone gets off and the stewardess says please leave. I don't know, you'd have to do that. But Al Kupanim, it's like the case of Amar, like they're going to push you off. You can't stay there, so you're honest. So then once you're allowed to go into the airport, so then you'd be allowed to go ahead and not just stay Dal Amos, so you're allowed to walk 2,000 Amos, or if you're Techumin of the city, you'd be allowed to go ahead and just walk out and go wherever you want. Say that's like, here Ben Gurion or whatever. I don't know if it's Techumin in any city, so then, but you're allowed to at least walk around the airport. I don't know if you're allowed to go anywhere else, and I think we'll stop here.
When did it land? When did it land?
If it landed on Shabbos.
On Shabbos.
Yeah. Yeah, I know there was a flight once I was